V for skunk. Your question is more like sort of hypothetical. I don't think you've sort of been in a situation where you've really had to deal with that. If you've had a COVID fine, it's unlawful anyway. A cop, wrong company's house. All directors are all police officers or chief inspectors and shit like that. So yeah, look, man. Again, it's about knowing your standings as the person. As a person's a dead legal fiction. In fact, it all goes back to the 1666 Cess Covey Act, and it's a little bit similar in French to not c'est la vie, anyway, c'est Covey, which means it's life, not that's life. Anyway, I can't remember the proper French translation, but the 1666 Cess Covey Act was created after the bubonic plague and then the Great Fire of London. And as part of the 1666 Escovay Act, you have 7 years to come forward to prove that you're alive or dead, basically. So, look, I'll give you a story, mate, yeah? When I was living in Ireland, I went and DJ'd at a party, and one of my Bosnian friends, he was dropping me off home. Without incriminating people, he'd had a couple of drinks and that. He wasn't over the limit, really, by any means. But anyway, he missed the turn on the roundabout. He went round twice. And then as we came off the roundabout, next thing, the Gardaí. Now, these lot are meant to be the worst police in Europe, the Gardaí. So anyway, my mate gets pulled over. He's from Bosnia. He's playing that I don't speak English card. I get a little bit impatient. I lean over and I say to the Gardaí, I says, "Oh, look, lads, he's just dropping me off." Oh, as soon as I heard my English accent, man, they were straight round. Some Gardaí, young Gardaí, drags me out of the car and starts searching my bag. Now, unfortunate for me, I'd just been DJing at a party, so I had CDs in my bag and stuff. But in front where my tobacco was. I'll be honest, I had a little bit of homegrown weed, yeah. So it wasn't skunk, it was homegrown weed, just natural, anyway. So this young Gardaí, he must have been about 20 or something, fresh out of the academy. He's like, "Oh, look what I found." I went, "Oh, it's just weed, mate. It's not skunk." He went, "Oh, but it's illegal." I went, "Yeah, but it's not unlawful, is it, mate? How can you make a seed respect order?" So anyway, this other well, there were four of them actually. There were four of them. None of them had hats on, so they're all acting enforcement officers. So anyway, the main guy goes, Oh, but it's illegal. I says, "Yeah, but it's not unlawful." So I says, "Look, if I've committed a crime, I need another man or woman to come forward and say that I've committed a crime." So another man or woman has to come forward and put a claim in against me saying I've committed a crime which has cost them harm, loss, injury, suffering, whichever word you want to use. So anyway, this young Cardi, who's like about 20, he goes, "Oh, your man there's saying that you've committed a crime." So I looked at this Gardaí and I went, "He's not a man, mate. He's acting as an enforcement officer." You know what I mean? He's acting as an enforcement officer. I went, "Well, I'll tell you what. I'll speak to him then, because you don't know much about the law, and I'll speak to him and I'll see what he's got to say." So anyway, I looked at the other enforcement officer. It seemed to be the older one out of the four. I think it might have been sergeant or something. So I says, "Can you tell me what law I've broken then?" I went, "Oh yes, it's the Misuse of Drugs Act 1962. I went, "Oh, the Misuse of Drugs Act. That pertains to a person, doesn't it?" And he goes, "Yes." I went, "Well, I'm not a person." I says, "I'm a man. I'm a man of the land. And I don't consent to acts and statutes because it's maritime law, which is law of the sea. And I don't live on a boat. I'm not on the sea. I live on the land." So anyway, I battered the young kid's head with like the legal fiction and the straw man and stuff like that. So anyway, after they'd really sort of established that they were committing fraud by using capitis diminutius. So this is what the police do to you without them realising. Capitis diminutius, the Latin for diminish your capacity to a person to then coerce you into contract law. So going back to my story, I said what I had to say. I stood my ground. I says I'm a man of the land. I says you'll be getting no joinder from me today. You know. And anyway, I think I'd battered these Gardays' heads that much that the leader, I suppose, the boss of the pack, he held up my little jar with 2 grams of normal weed and went, "Is this yours?" And I thought, now I could ask him to pour it down drain and give him my jar back. Or I'll just go, "Yeah, I've never seen it before." And that's what I said. You know what I mean? And I could have filmed it all, but I didn't. I stood in honour in everything I was saying to them. I stood in honour and I didn't get in anybody's face. And this is the trick, boys and girls, men, women, in betweeners. If you're going to deal with these enforcement officers / constables, always stand in honour. So look, going back to your comments, V for skunk, man. Listen, if you got a fine, it's your own fault for giving joinder at the first instance. However, you can then claim afterwards that you were coerced, you know, but that would come in your affidavit of truth. Now remember, an affidavit of truth has to be signed and notarised, not only by you and a witness, but also by a notary public. So you probably use a solicitor as an example for something like that. But the paperwork always precedes the man. So if you've been unlawfully fined for doing nothing wrong, that man or woman acting in that capacity as an enforcement officer, if they've fined you and they've acted out of their capacity because they don't know what they're enforcing, because they're misled and misfed, you know, but it's also up to you as the man or woman to know the legislation inside out. And a lot of people go, "I can't be arsed reading it." Well, tough shit then, you're going to get screwed. So yeah, V for skunk, mate. If you've really had a fine, then get back to me, mate. But I'm guessing your question was more hypothetical. Now, yeah, McDonald's. Yeah, good point, mate, in what you said there. But if you know of anybody doing this and they're failing, then they're not doing it correctly. Whether it be it's how they represent their name as the legal fiction, like the Mr., the Mrs., any affidavit of truth should go through from the living man or woman as, I don't know, as an example, Billy Joe of the family Smith. Not Mr. B.J. Smith, but Billy Joe of the family Smith. And always write your affidavits of truth in pen. And don't use black ink, and keep everything in small case. The only thing that begins with a capital letter is a person, a place, or a thing. So person, thing, place. It's all Roman legalese stuff still. So yeah, listen guys, don't be in a situation where you're gonna get a COVID fine. If you're out exercising your right and some muppet in a uniform, fancy dress, because that's all they're doing, all these actors, they come up and go, "Here, move on, just walk off and be honourable. Don't sit there and start fucking babbling at them, because they'll just drag you off anyway at the moment. You can still sue them for it, but why waste fucking 3 days of your life going through a system when you don't have to?" So just be mindful of that as well, people. So yeah, V for skunk, McDonald, man. Just try and comprehend the difference between the legal fiction person and the man, the woman. You don't need a law degree. You just need to be able to tell that enforcement officer in that moment that you know your standings. You know you're a living, breathing man. Yeah? And for them to try and coerce you to be the person is fraud. It's criminal conversion of your name on your birth certificate. So it's all right people banging about straw men and that, but when you look into the finer detail, your birth certificate does not prove your identity. Your birth certificate is copyright of the Crown. So for anybody else to make you stand under that legal fiction is fraud. You know? All right, look, I've had a bit of a rant there. I had a bit of a think about what you guys said. But yeah, look, V for skunk. If you got a fine, it's your own fault for being daft. You know what I mean, and giving them your details, because they can only keep you in prison in a jail cell for so many hours, and they have to release you anyway. And if you've done nothing wrong under common law, then just sit there and tell them fuck all. You know what I mean? No, and this is the thing: we don't consent by not consenting, and therefore we're not obliged. Because if you are sound of mind and you have all your scruples or your marbles, then You know, it's like. In fact, someone was telling me a story, man. They went into court, yeah, and the judge refused to see my man who stood under his affidavit of truth. So my man said to the judge, "If you cannot see me and believe that I'm alive because I'm speaking to you now in this moment, I now call out your judgment and your sanity and your mind." So again, going back to those commercial maxims there, till eyes go against the mind. So. Anyway, look, yeah, might have answered your questions. Just another download. I'll listen to what you said. But, yeah, just don't give them joinder. And just be honourable and be polite at all times. Anyway, peace, love and respect, guys. Bye.